All right, so thank you for joining once again. And we are looking at the Excel AND function. Call it the AND function, AND, capital letter. Please take note, the AND function is usually spelled capital letter AND. Right, so it is a pre-made function in Excel which returns a value of true or false based on two or more conditions. All right, so this is I'm going to be showing you how a typical AND function looks like. All right, so this is how a typical AND function looks like. We have the AND here. This is a logical, and then we have logical one. AND is a function. Then we have different parameters inside this function, which is logical one. We have logical two, and then we have logical three, logical four, as many logical functions within the AND function. All right. And one thing I've found out is that this particular AND function is usually used and combined with conditionals, because I said that this inside here, these logicals are conditional. And one of the typical example of conditional statement that we've looked at is the if conditional. And if is also a function in Microsoft Excel. So what happens if a number is greater than another number? So you can include those conditions inside here. And also if a number is smaller than, or if a number or text is equal to something, right? So you can write all those things within these parentheses. All right. And that's basically how this Microsoft Excel AND function works. So we are going to be looking at a typical example of how to use this AND function without writing some logical inside, like the if function. Then thereafter, we have a project that we are going to be looking at. Right, this is a data of students with their different respective marks assigned to it. So we are going to be writing using the AND function, combining it with if logicals to get the grade of the students based on these two criteria. All right, now let's quickly cancel this. Let's quickly remove now let's look at how the AND function works here. So AND, please use your keyboard. AND, open a bracket, then we have logical one. But before that, let us first of all fill a cell, and then this is how it works. All right, so the AND function works just like we have the AND statement, and also we have what is called the OR statement. So if two conditions are satisfied, if two are true, let's say for example, if we are looking at so let's say, obviously, let's say one of the states in Nigeria, such as Lagos, right? Lagos is a state in Nigeria, and then you are asked to combine two functions or two different conditions. Or Lagos, a state in Nigeria, is obviously it is true. And then you are giving another statement like Lagos is a state in Republic of Ghana, and then you are giving another statement. Let's say Lagos is maybe has a population of maybe, let's say, like the actual population is 200 million, right? So the two statements there are true because Lagos is a state in Nigeria, and also Lagos has about that 200 million. Let's just assume that it has 200 million in population, people in population. And so those two statements are true. The only statement which is not true there is that Lagos is a state in Ghana, and that is totally wrong. That is false. So if the conditions, all the statements are not true, that means the result is going to be false. So AND statement gives a true statement if all the statements within the parameters are true. Right, so that's basically what we are going to be looking at now. Right, so this is a typical example where we have this let's say for example we have scores from 0 to 100. Right, in an examination or in a class, we have students scoring, maybe let's take for example mathematics subject. A student can only score from 0 to 100. All right, you cannot score above 100%. And this is a typical example of this using the AND statement. Right, let's take for example we have this greater than equal to 100, and then we also have this less than equal to 100. Let's say that a student scored 78. All right, now we are going to use the AND statement here. So equal sign, then type and then what's the logical one? let's say this, right, is greater than and equal to 0 with a comma, and then we also have that this is less than and equal to 100. So once you close a bracket, this is basically what you are getting. So any number that is within the range of 0 to 100 will give you true, and a number that is outside this, we are going to get false because we don't have it inside the range. For example, let's change this to 700, so we are going to be getting false, right? Or let's change this to -5, we are going to be getting false. But anything like, let's say 60, is going to change to true. So that's just how it works. Now, having seen that, we will start working on this project here where we have these two criteria. So for a particular subject, if a student gets from above 0 to 40, right, 0 to 39, because this is less than 40. If a student gets above 0, this is greater than or equal to 0, and then less than 49. That means from the range of 0 to 39, the student should get fail as result. Then if it's above or equal to from 40 to 59, 40 to 49 should be passed. From 60 to less than or equal to 100, that means from 60 to 100 should be distinction, and then anything outside that, we are going to be getting the results such as invalid. So right, let's get started to see how to work this out. So thereafter, I'll be filling the grades. We are going to be writing the function using the AND. So this means we are going to be combining the if and the AND functions in Microsoft Excel. So you can pause the video and give it a try and see how this works. All right, so this is what we are going to be doing here. We said we are going to be combining the if statements and together with the AND function of Microsoft Excel. So this is a logical AND, and this is how a typical function of AND looks like when you are combining it with if. So first and foremost, you start every function with equal sign, and then let's write the if, and then in the logical tests we are going to apply the AND function here. So just write your AND, then we open a bracket, and we said before that once you open you use an AND function, you can write different logicals within the parameters. All right, so let's get to see how to do that. Now we have the different criteria here, the criteria 1 and then the criteria 2. So for a student to get fail, a student must have from 0 to less than 40. So that means from 0 to 49. All right, that means it's going to be fail. Okay, so let's get started. So by clicking this cell, because this is where we are using to measure if a student fails, right? That's the mark of the student. Now let's click on here. Okay, so if this is greater than or equal to 0, so that's the first criteria, and then with a comma, if that same cell, that is cell E4, is less than 40, all right, so close a bracket, and then we have separate with a comma, and then what is the value if it is true? So you open quotation mark and then type fail. Please, these are all case sensitive. If you want your result to display in all capital letters, you have to write it in capital letters. Okay, or you can still write other functions like the upper functions to convert your lower cases to all capital cases. And then so after doing this, separate with a comma, and then we have to write another if condition. That is if, open a bracket and then use your AND, open another bracket, and then we have this same cell E4. So you go to the second criteria, which is if it is greater than or equal to 40, which is greater than or equal to 40. And then the second criteria that must be met is that the same cell should be less than 60. So cell E4 less than 60. All right, then what happens? Close the brackets with a comma, and then let's give the student a pass mark. All right, so the student got pass, and then with a comma write another if, and then with AND, okay, open a bracket. Then what is the next logical here is that the cell E4 is greater than and equal to 60, all right, and then the same cell E4, let's say it's less than or equal to 100, and then if those conditions are met, the value, if it is true, we are going to give it distinction, all right, and then with a comma, since every other, we do not need to start writing for the next criteria, that is less than 0 or greater than 0. So any values that falls outside this range that we gave, right, for the column, like for the row 4, 5, and 6, all right, any values that falls outside that, we are going to give it a value if it is false, because this is the if statement. We have the value if it is true, we have the value if it is false, and then we have the logical test. So we fill the logical test, we fill the value if it is true. So what is remaining for us to fill now is the value if every other condition is, false. And now, so let's just write invalid, right? After the invalid, closes, and then you count how many of the parentheses that you gave. So let's close this, let's close the other one, and then, oh, I think there's an error. So let's check this out. So we have distinction here. So this student got distinctions. Please, we're supposed to close it with 3 different brackets, okay, if you happen to count it very well. So we are going to close first one, second one, and then the third one. And Excel has a way of automatically correcting those errors, and that is why we got that error. So I clicked OK, and then we got it corrected for us. So we have distinctions here because this student got 100. Now if you happen to fill this, let's change this to within the range of 40 to 49. So let's just say 45. We have pass mark here. Now if you change this to, let's say 0, we have fail. Now if you change this value to -5, so we have invalid. So, and let's get this back to 100. So what you basically do for the whole record of students, let's say we have about 100 record of students in the class, you can simply double tap on this arrow. So take your cursor to the end here. Once you see that cross mark or the plus sign, just double click, and then it automatically fills to the last record in this data. All right, so from here you can see that we have all the students here with their different grades. So we've been able to combine the logical and functions in Excel together with the if statement to carry out data analysis. So I really hope you enjoyed the session, and I wish to see you next time.